So another night of the 100 and another relatively dull meeting in the men's fixture. Now, the London Spirit took on the Southern Brave at the Utilita, whatever you call it, the Aegeus Bowl, the Rose Bowl, depending on how old you are. And it was an absolute shocker for the London Spirit. They started off 49 for 5, 77 for 6 at one point. It was a Dan Lawrence 38 off 30 that kind of steadied the ship. Liam Dawson managed to score 45 off 19 at the end with 4 fours and 3 sixes, which was pretty good. Apart from Andre Russell smashing a 6 and a 4, who got 13 off 7, and Michael Pepper with 12 off 11. No one else made it past single digits, with London Spirit finishing their 100 balls 138 for 9, which might have looked okay at one point, but not really in the end. Craig Overton took 3 for 16 from his 20 balls. Archer and Coles both picked up 1 apiece, and Tymar Mills and Chris Jordan both picked up 2. Now, when it came to the batting, it was relatively easy for Southern Brave, I have to admit. Dan Hughes, 45 off 30. James Vince, 56 off 35 as they put on a 95 partnership. And Lewis Deploy scored 22 off 19 to score the winning runs for his side, which is confusing because he now plays for Middlesex, and the London Spirit should technically be a Middlesex side, and I can't quite work that out because Southern Brave should be a Hampshire side, but they had Nathan Ellis and Liam Dawson, who both play for Hampshire, and the London Spirit haven't got any Middlesex players, and the Southern Brave are meant to be Hampshire, but they've got a Middlesex player and they've only got one Hampshire player. So who knows? I really don't know. I mean, I know they're meant to be Sussex as well, and they've obviously got Jordan plays for Surrey now, doesn't he? So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Yeah, Surrey players playing for the Middlesex side. I don't get the teams. I feel like they need a real rejig and need to go back to like looking at the counties and who the counties have got and kind of picking a side around there, rather than just going for a bit of a free-for-all. Just to make people think about the counties that they're actually representing a little bit more, if you do want to have this kind of thing that isn't just on its own. I don't know. Sorry for the ECB to look at. It's far above my pay grade anyway. But again, they chased down 138 in 89 deliveries. It was a pretty dull affair. I mean, the decent start that they got off to, like 95 off 58 when Dan Hughes fell to Bopara, which was, to be fair, like a little bit against the run of play. It was done from there, realistically. It was kind of a runner ball at that point. So, yeah, pretty poor. The women's game was slightly better, though. Southern Brave set a total of 151 for 6 from their 100 deliveries. Maya Bouchier with 35 off 21 and was absolute suicidal running between her and Danny Wyatt for her to be run out for 35. Danny Wyatt did cash in though. She got 59 off 35. A 21 from Georgia Adams and a 20 from Chloe Tryon towards the end. Saw them up to a really good total of 151 for 6. Like, if you're anywhere about the 150 in the women's game, you're probably in it. And they probably should have been. Erin Burns, 2 for 6 from her 10. Sophie Munro, 1 for 34. Pretty expensive. And then Danny Gibson, 1 for 28 from her 15. Eva Gray also picks up 1 for 13 from her 10. Charlie Dean, 0 for 40 from her 20 deliveries. That is expensive. Tara Norris, 1 run from her 5 deliveries. Surprised she didn't bowl more. And then when it came to the run chase, Georgia Redmayne, 45 off 31, put them in a pretty good position. They did lose Meg Lanning early, and then they lost Griffiths again. They were 29 for 2, but then a decent partnership between Redmayne and Heather Knight. Heather Knight was the hero of this chase. 65 off 31 at the end. I mean, they needed, I think at one point it was 48 off 24. And she just saw it over the line. I mean, it was pretty poor kind of field placements and bowling plans from the Southern Brave. I mean, if you've ever watched Heather Knight bat before, you know that she likes playing through the offside. And it just seemed to be that they had all the field to the leg side. And Heather Knight was just chipping it over the offside in the infield to a field that was literally all up on the offside. It didn't make any sense, but you've got to do it. And 65 off 31 in a run chase as captain was pretty impressive. One thing I will say that amazed me, Meg Lanning played today and wasn't captain in a T20 game for like the first time in like 10 years or something ridiculous like that, because obviously Heaven Knight is the England captain, so why would you give it to her? But London Spirit got off to a win against the defending champions. Tomorrow's game is Manchester Originals versus Welsh Fire. Now, Manchester Originals are missing Josh Butler in the men's side. I'm excited to see Sophie Eccleston for the women's side. I think both those teams have actually got a lot better. I'm interested to see what Bairstow does for the Welsh Fire for the men's side. Obviously, he's usually part of the England squad, but he's not part of the England squad, so he should play the whole competition. So I'd be surprised if he didn't. So it'll be interesting to see if Bairstow plays. I am going to go for a Manchester Originals women win and a Welsh Fire men win. That's what I'm going to go tomorrow. So bet all your pennies on that. Now, the One Day Cup also started today, and over at this channel, we have Metro Bank fever. Apart from the fact that I'm a Middlesex fan, and we'll get to that bit. But we started off with Northamptonshire versus Derbyshire. Northamptonshire made 235, which looked a little bit under par. They probably wanted to be around 260, 270. Emilio Gay made a 59. George Bartlett with a 50. Zaid made 42 off 44, and then nothing else from the rest of them. Zach Chappell managed to pick up 4 for 39. Samit Patel, 3 for 41, still doing a bit at the ripe old age of how old is Samit Patel now? He is nearly 40. He is 40 in November. And when it came to the run chase, Derbyshire were massively in trouble, like seriously in trouble. They were 79 for 7 at one point. But then there was 100 and, what was it, 30? 130 partnership between Zach Chappell, who's already taken 4 for in the game, and Ross Whiteley. Ross Whiteley was out for 65 to make it 210 for 8, and they need another 26, and they managed to chase it down. Zach Chappell finishing 94 not out from 87 deliveries. Harry Moore chipping with a 7 not out as well. Raphael Weatherall picked up 4 for 50 from his 8 overs. Just a ridiculous chase. Like, Northamptonshire should have won it, but they just couldn't take a wicket towards the end. Next to Durham versus Lancashire. Now, Durham got 344 for 4 as they batted first. Alex Lees with a ton, again knocking on some sort of England door. He has to be at this point. McKinney with 43, Baz Delada with 72, Colin Ackerman with 59 off 33, and then Michael Jones with 41 off 21 at the end to push him up to a score that shouldn't be chaseable. Will Williams, which has got the best name in cricket, took 1. Aspinall took 1. Balderson took 1, and Harry Singh also took 1. It came to the Lancs innings. Keaton Jennings got run out for 44. Harry Singh put on 25, which was the next highest score. But Josh Bohannon nearly single-handedly chased down this score of 345 they were chasing. Okay, they needed a lot towards the end, but he's put on 147 for 119. Now, this probably wasn't even the best innings in the One Day Cup today. I'll get to that. But Josh Bohannon, 147 off 119. A lot of it batting with kind of the lower to middle order. There wasn't much in between, but what a knock. It really was. It got them a lot closer, and if anything comes down to net run rate, they're going to have Josh Bohannon to thank for that. He hasn't had a great season so far this year. I'm pretty happy that I put him in my fantasy side. Now to Essex versus Warwickshire. Essex 324 for 7 in their first innings as they batted first. Nick Brown with 75, Kushi with a 20, Robin Das with 35, Charlie Allison with 69, and Luke Benkenstein with 44. Now, there was a very good moment from Luke Benkenstein, who is, I believe, the captain, or at least he plays for the under-19s England side, and I've seen his name come up quite a lot. He edged one behind today, and the umpire wasn't going to give it out, but he edged it and he walked, and you got to say fair enough. Oliver Hannon Dalby took 3 for 69. Ed Barnard with 2 for 37, just going at 4 and over. and then 1 apiece for Will Rhodes and Craig Miles. Now, when it came to the run chase, I don't understand how Warwickshire made this look so easy. They were chasing down 325. Rob Yates, 40. Will Rhodes, 40. Michael Burgess, 59 not out. But wait for it. Ed Barnard, who has already taken 2 wickets in the game and just gone for 4 and over, 173 off 140 balls, 17 fours, 4 sixes. A ridiculous innings to mean that Warwickshire won by 7 wickets. Like, just ridiculous. They chased down over 300 with what, like 10 balls left? Like, ridiculous. 14 balls left. Ridiculous innings, like genuinely ridiculous. Jamal Richards, Tom Wesley and Luke Benkenstein all picked up 1 apiece. But I mean, Ed Barnard show today, and I was saying that I put Bohannon in my team. I put Ed Barnard in my team and I captained him as well. Worcestershire versus Middlesex. Now, this was probably the most one-sided game you will ever see in your life. Worcestershire 371 for 3 off a reduced 48 overs, by the way. Didn't even get to play the full 50. If we would have played the full 50, then we could have seen 400 quite easily. Gareth Roderick and Ed Pollock put on a partnership of 259 runs. Roderick went to 115. Ed Pollock finished 180 off 138. Middlesex could not buy a wicket. Like, it just wasn't happening. Even the second wicket partnership was like 80. No, more than that, 90. Like, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nathan Fernandez picked up 2. He was the one that got the breakthrough of Roderick for that opening partnership. And Henry Brooks picked up 1. Then when it came to the chase, we saw some decent attempts at a chase today, but Middlesex did not do that. They absolutely collapsed for 188. The only highlight was Mark Stoneman, 75 off 37. I don't know where this came from, which was like, it was some knock, it really was, but no one else did anything, so it meant nothing. Harry Darley, Jack Home and Tommy Sturgis all took 3 apiece, with Ethan Brooks picking up 1. Now 4 of the main seamers for Worcestershire just haven't ever, they were making debuts. Middlesex should have made such a better go at this than they did. It was really poor. Finally, to Leicestershire versus Nottinghamshire, the battle of, well, I was going to say the armies, but Rian was playing for the Southern Brave tonight, so it didn't really matter. It would have been nice if Rian was playing for Leicestershire and Farham was playing for Notts to see them play together. Leicestershire 369 for 6. No one made a ton. Lewis Hill with an 81, Ajinka Rehani with 71, and Sol Budinger with 75. Lyndon James picked up 3 wickets in the game. Then Nottinghamshire started their run chase, and they were 10 overs into it, and then it rained for a very long time, and then they had a reduced target that they needed to chase from like 3.5 overs. So I don't really know what happened there, which meant that they retired their 2 openers out, meaning that they technically lost 4 wickets in 2 balls, because as soon as they started from the restart, so they retired the 2 openers to bring someone that would come in and smash it, and then they lost 2 wickets in a row. So somehow Notts lost 4 wickets in 2 balls, and I don't know how that makes sense. Some sort of double play stuff, but it happened. Tom Scriven 3 for 20 from his 3 overs, and they made it nowhere near the revised total. And Leicestershire won by 15 runs by the Duckworth-Lewis method. But guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I very much hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave a like. Please remember to subscribe. Turn that bell notification on, because we will be doing updates from the 100. We've got more One Day Cup games tomorrow. We have the Ireland versus Zimbabwe test starting tomorrow. And then the day after that, we also have the England and West Indies test, that 3rd test starting. They will be in separate videos, though. There'll be a West Indies versus England review video, and then there'll be the 100 and all the other stuff, the One Day Cup and the Zimbabwe test and things like that. That will be in a separate video. So the test match, the England test match days, are going to be one video, and then the 100 and any other new stuff will be in the next one. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.